Fort McLeod, 1885. Northwest Mounted Police stationed at the fort look for a way to pass the time. They play a game where a ball is hit across the rough prairie, over wagon trails, and around natural hazards. The game of golf catches on, and as the century turns, courses begin to open up across the province. Hungry for competition, avid players begin to look for ways to challenge golfers on other courses. In 1912, 5 clubs joined together to form what we know today as the Alberta Golf Association.
Alberta Golf's mandate is really to preserve and promote the game of golf within the province of Alberta. Really what we're trying to do is to maintain the standards of the game, to maintain the continuity.
They are really the governing body for Alberta for our sport.
They've allowed the competitive player to be able to compete at a high level. They run all the tournaments at the provincial level. They have provincial teams that they send to the Canadian championships. This is huge in developing the competitive player within the province.
You really do need to have a governing body and someone to drive the sport.
And I think when you look at a sport association that's 100 years old, we're one of the, if not the oldest sport association in the province.
Golf was often considered a game only for the elite, but many members of the Alberta Golf Association fondly recall more humble beginnings.
I was lucky enough to caddy for my mother out here in the early 1930s, and in those days the ladies had about 5 clubs in their bag, and they used to play 9 holes and then go in for tee. And at that point I would go over to what we laughingly called our practice area, and I would hit balls waiting for my mother to come out.
We bought a set of golf clubs from Eaton's for I think it was about $175 for the clubs and bag, and that got me started.
When we first started playing golf, we just played with any ball that you could find in the rough. It was just like a gold mine when you found somebody else's golf ball.
I grew up on a golf course. My dad was a golf pro, and so I was introduced to the game quite an early age.
One of my high school friends' father had some kind of older golf clubs. It would have been way back in the 40s, I guess.
Heads were made of persimmon, and some had plastic inserts. Some people put metal inserts into the face of the clubs. A lot of guys played around, they made up their own clubs. There were some awful funny looking clubs out there, I'll tell you.
We actually crawled through a barbed wire fence, which led us down to what was then 10th hole on the old Regal, and hit a few shots around the last 9 and then crawled back through the fence again. I've always been grateful. The old pro who had a window facing out in the direction where we were, I think, just generally speaking, kind of turned his back when we went, and he just let us get away with it.
There were no such things as tees as we know them today. There were mats on the ground, and you made your own tee from a box beside the tee, the hole you were playing. You made your own tee out of the sand and water that was there, and you ran it through your fingers and you put it down as a little tee.
Greens before used to tend to be a lot flatter, a lot smaller. They were not nearly the size of what you would find today, so shots into the green had to be just that much more accurate than what you have to be today.
The clubhouse in the early days was very Spartan, and if you wanted a beer, you went up and knocked on a little door, and the beer attendant would open a shutter, and if he had the beer, he'd give you the beer in exchange for 25 cents or whatever it was at the time.
Well, when I first started golfing, I couldn't golf till noon. I was one of those that if the men get the course in the morning, then you can have it after 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
I was 3 My dad owned a driving range over at Mount Royal, and he just took me out there when I was 3 years old and gave me a bucket of balls and said, you know, see what you can do, and I got hooked from then on. And then at some point it became something that I wanted to do professionally.
The passion players have for the game hasn't changed in the past century, but the way golf is played most certainly has.
Well, over the last 100 years, there's been huge changes in the sport.
Equipment has just keeps evolving and getting better and better.
I can hit my driver, the driver I have now, to the same place that I hit it in the 50s and 60s and 70s.
The one thing that I do notice about the young people playing golf today is that they're all riding carts, where when I started playing golf, everybody walked and carried their bags, and you don't see that a lot anymore.
When I first started in golf at the provincial level, we did not have any TV coverage at all, especially for ladies golf. So it is a big change now when you have golf on TV practically every day from someplace in the world.
As the game of golf kept evolving over decades, it became clear that Alberta golf would have to change with the times too.
About 1960, the Alberta Golf Association started to really come into its own.
My days go back to the old days when good old Charlie Scott ran the Alberta Golf Association out of his bedroom. And he did a wonderful job.
When I became president of Alberta Ladies Golf, I said I would like to see every course in Alberta be a member of the Alberta Golf Association. And my board, we affiliated 31 clubs in 2 years. It was outstanding, a great teamwork.
But it wasn't really until the 1970s where it really became more of a professional functioning organization as we kind of know it today. A gentleman by the name of Ken Sherritt really became the face of Alberta Golf. Ken came in at a time where, again, there was a boom in golf in the 1970s. All of a sudden, a big spike in number of clubs, number of members, and of course, with that was a spike in the expectations of what Alberta Golf could do. So Ken ended up opening up an office in his basement. Over the years, he would incorporate his family as part of the staff. The organization moved into their first office on Haddon Road here in Calgary, and started to hire their first staff. And Ken then moved back into a volunteer role, and the Alberta Golf Association brought in their first part-time staffers to kind of now do the administration responsibilities for the organization.
So many people that have worked as directors, has been on the boards, that have worked very, very hard, and they've worked hard as volunteers, who have grown the sport tremendously. Without these people, we wouldn't be, the association wouldn't be as strong as what it is today.
I got involved with the Alberta Ladies Golf Association, I think it was back in 1987, and we were basically a kitchen table organization. We had no staff. We were totally volunteer driven. We did all of the work ourselves. It was like a full-time job.
It started to become clear that we should amalgamate with the Ladies Association.
I just couldn't see the sense in us running parallel programs and having two sets of staff doing the same things.
In 2000, the organizations melded together and became one organization, become the Alberta Golf Association.
When we took that vote, and it was unanimous among the directors, and we started a trend that has moved right across Canada, in fact, right to Golf Canada.
We were bringing the best of all worlds together in a nice marriage. We started to do more than just run golf tournaments. We were running junior golf camps.
I started playing as a junior and grew up through the Alberta Golf Association. It gives young junior players a place to play. There's a schedule of events that you can look up and you can play from May through October if we're lucky. That is great for juniors to have.
From the beginner junior to the seasoned pro, golf is more popular today than ever before, making Alberta golf crucial to the future of the game in this province.
I've had over 60 years of great fun with playing golf, and I'm still playing at it, and to me It's one of the greatest sports I've ever been in.
It's a sport for all ages and for life. It's just saved my life.
I think it is a sport for everyone to play nowadays, from young to old. And that's sort of the nice part about it. I think that does help to grow the sport.
The Golf Association's been very important, much more important than people give them credit for.
It's the continuity. It provides the standards, it provides the template for the game to grow. I think that we bring a sense of stability. We're very professional at what we do, but we do it quietly behind the scenes and make sure we prop up the game and continue to make it grow. I think the next step for us now is to really bring more public player golfers into the fold.
Everybody should have access. It's a great sport that, you know, anybody can play at any age. I think the biggest thing that Alberta Golf could do is develop their juniors.
I think it's good for the AGA to encourage the development of young, willing golfers.
A club that does not have a junior program, they're missing the boat because that's where their new members are coming from.
If we can get our kids playing on our courses, the future is going to be fantastic. And the number of great golfers that are going to come out of this game in this province is just mind-boggling. I won't rest easy until everybody's playing this great game.